Hi everyone. Firstly, thank you for being so patient. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get back to you. I've just had lots of lessons going on and planning, you know how it is. So anyway, I thought it would be easier just to make a quick video. Hopefully it's going to be quick because I've had a lot of people asking me different questions, and I'm likely to forget to answer somebody's question or to talk to them or forget what I've said to everyone, so I'll just do this quick video. By all means, if all of your questions are not answered in this, then drop me another line and I'll get back to you. But firstly, we've been paid today, brilliant. Okay, so I can speak more freely because I was fired from Palfish and I've had my final paycheck for what it was worth. So I worked with them for quite some time and I saw a gradual stepping down, as I'm sure you all did. A reduction in classes and payments, bonuses, all the rest of it. So I've started to build up work in other areas, not in other platforms, but in other areas. And also I took one student from Palfish that I've had privately now for about a year or just over. So I had the contact details for her, and I also had two other students, WeChats. And if anyone is wondering how I did that, this is a long time ago. I literally got my QR code for my WeChat account and held it up to the screen and asked for mummy or daddy, and they snapped it, and then we contacted that way. So that was the easiest way. I mean, that's your choice whether you want to do that or not, because it comes with a risk if you're still working for them and you still have money in your account with them. So when Palfish made the announcement that they're reducing our pay by 40% and cut off communication with students and parents, I literally just had no money worth worrying about in my account to let it concern me. So I decided to take that as a bit of a marketing budget, if you like. So I changed my profile picture, I changed my intro on my profile just to let the parents know what had happened, how I was responding to it, which was that I was going to leave, but not by a choice of my own, and gave them my WeChat contact and email, I think. Anyway, it stayed up there for 3 or 4 days, maybe even a bit longer. But after that, Palfish realised that 1 or 2 teachers had decided to do that, and they stopped you being able to do it. There is still a little loophole, or at least there was last time I looked, for you to get in touch with your student if anyone wants to know. There are videos out there, and I have to recommend Gillian Shanahan. Check her out on YouTube if you haven't already. Another ex-Palfisher. So she shares lots of great information. So go and watch those. Okay, how to recruit your own private students off of any platform. And I personally don't see any value in going to work for another platform because of the way the market is in China, and who knows if we're even going to be saved privately. But it's worth a try at least. And of course, don't keep all of your eggs in one basket, so have other income streams, even if you manage to get good private lessons going. But I'm not here to talk about all of that stuff. So because I had one student privately for a year, I've had her now for 3 years, 3.5 years, but 1 year privately. We've built up a brilliant relationship. So if you have a parent like that, try and get hold of those because they're worth their weight in gold. It's 2 weeks now pretty much since I've been sacked, maybe a bit less, can't remember. And I'm at that point of starting to take a waiting list. All of my available slots are booked up, and this is generally because that one parent has spread the word across her network, and they've now all been in touch. They've all had trial lessons and they've all signed up, which is interesting. 100% have signed up. When you got that direct link and no nonsense slides or platform, it's much, much better. So I had that one. Sorry if I'm rambling, it's at the end of a very long day, and I'm not going to edit this or anything. It's just going to be straight out there, so stick it on fast forward if you want. Get to the bits that interest you. I had that one brilliant mum who's brought the other ones. So how do I now manage that? Okay, I also teach across other continents, so I'm dealing with different time zones, which gets difficult. I have recently signed up to Tutorbird, which is a resource that another teacher told me about. I can't remember who it was now, but go and check all this information out for yourself and see if it fits you, because it might not. I've got a whinging schnauzer in the background, so she might start barking in a minute. Let's see how it goes. Tutorbird, if you haven't heard of it, it's a brilliant, I think, platform for independent teachers. So you can schedule, you can have a calendar and put all of your classes in. You can invoice your students, so you put how many lessons a week they have and it automatically generates invoices. You can accept payments through it. Depending on where you are in the world, you'll have more options of being able to receive payment. Obviously, that's the big deal with China. I'm in Europe, so it's much more limited than America and possibly Canada. The only two that work for me are PayPal and Stripe, and Tutorbird accepts those. So Tutorbird will invoice the parent via their email, and then they can pay directly through that. I haven't had success with Stripe yet, even though I've got an account and it should work. I haven't had time to figure out why it hasn't. But the only success I've had was actually indirectly, so not through Tutorbird, with PayPal. So I'm taking all of my payments through PayPal. They do charge quite a hefty fee. I think it's 5-6%. But from the outset, if you choose to do that, pass it on to your parents and make them aware of it. I have one parent who sends the money for 5 students and they all split the fee. It's done that way. And sorry, my phone's just thrown me off track. So PayPal is the easiest one for me. In terms of platforms that I teach on, I use Zoom. Tutorbird is free. Go back to Tutorbird. Tutorbird is free for the first month. I think it's about $12, euros, pounds, something like that afterwards. And you also get space for a free website. It's very basic, but it will allow you to have like an About You page. I think you can have as many pages as you want, but the layout, the design is pretty basic. But if you just need like a calling card that you could send on to people, then that comes with it. So for $12, whatever, a month, I think that's pretty good. So I've signed up for the first month and I'm trialing it out. I did put in all of my student details and the calendar. I got really excited with that. Haven't gone back to it since. So I'm not sure if I'm going to stay with it. And the getting paid through that hasn't worked for me. So let's see. But platforms, classrooms that I teach through at the moment, I only teach through Zoom. And I've been doing that for a while now, so I'm familiar with it. I only have an iPad, so I only use that. I think if you have a desktop or a laptop, you've got more features and functions available to you, but it's absolutely fine on a phone or an iPad. If you're not familiar with it, download it, familiarise yourself very quickly. You can have a whiteboard which you can freehand draw on, you can type on, you can get the emojis as you type. I play games through that, we draw on it, lots of different things, lots of different ways of using that. Both you and your student can share photos, videos, or your screen. So whatever you've got on your computer or joining the internet, you can share, so you can play songs, videos, games, whatever. And Zoom is free for up to 45 minutes one-to-one. I think maybe, I don't know, you can have small groups, I can't remember how many you can have. But anything more than 45 minutes and higher than that group limitation, then you pay, I think it's €15 or pounds a month. I'm just on the free one. I started off paying, but I wasn't using it for any more than the free one, so I've reverted back to a free. There's also Class In, which I've looked into, but not fully enough yet. Again, there is a free version as well as a paid. You can do all of the stuff that you can do through Zoom, but it is set up for teaching. So Zoom is for meetings originally and Class In is for teaching, so it might be easier to use. Again, that's worth looking at. I will put a document at the end of this video giving you all of the things that I mentioned, the resources and the links and everything. So jump straight to the end if this is boring for you. I will not be offended. I'm just trying to make sure I cover everything. So Zoom or Classing, Tutorbird for your scheduling and possibly payment. Somebody else asked about curriculum. What curriculum do I use? Now for this, I think for me it was important to go back and think about my teaching style, and maybe it wasn't something I've given much thought to before, but actually it just happens naturally. And I don't know if you've noticed that you have a lot of similar students, similar, not necessarily even a similar level, but a similar way of learning. I think that's not an accident. I have lots of students, adult and children, that literally just want conversation, and they learn in a specific way, in a specific style. That's what attracts them and keeps them to me. So using a curriculum isn't necessarily the way that I teach. Having said that, of course, the Palfish one was always there as a bit of a structure and a bit of a whatever. I'm not a fan of the Palfish slides, I have to say, and very restrictive, very repetitive, very boring. It certainly wouldn't have kept me interested as a student. So there are resources out there for curriculums. You can buy them. There are free ones. Do your own research. I will just mention a few that I've come across. But I make my own lesson content. I'm loosely going to a curriculum for those that want a bit more of a structured, or the parents at least that want a bit more of a structure. So some of those that I've found are, did have them down here. I've got it, definitely got it on the slide. I'm a bit brain dead now. You've got cambridgeenglish.org, which is a great resource for lesson plans, but also there's a curriculum that you can use. Off to Class, free one that you can use. Palfish itself, if you didn't come across, somebody shared the Google Drive folder or folders for the curriculums on Palfish. So go into the Palfish unofficial teachers groups, there's a couple, and just search for Palfish curriculum and it will come up, and then you can download and save that. I have a feeling there might have been another one that I've left off. Oh, the other thing there's an app that you can get on I have an iPhone, so it's on the App Store, whether it's on Google Play, I don't know. It's called TEFL Handbook, and it gives you a very limited, small curriculum, but for A1 or pre-starters, A1, B1, all of them right through to C1 or C2. It maybe give you 10 or 12 lessons per level, so not massive, but it's something to fall back on if you're in a bit of a rush, which is handy. Again, this is all at the end of this video. So that's curriculum. WeChat, you need to get yourself a WeChat account if you haven't already, and I'm sure you know. They did shut down Westerners joining, but I think that's open again, and that's how you can share your contact information with your parents. So there are other resources like books online, Oxford Owl, Unlimited Books, and YouTube Kids. Brilliant for lesson content, brilliant for videos, games, singing, actions, general teaching English stuff, Oxford English. I can't remember if I've mentioned that already. You've got some level tests on there as well, which are really useful. So I think that's pretty much about it. I did have another question. Let me see if I can get into that quickly. Sorry for being a bit disorganised, but you know what it's like at the end of a day. So Marcy asked me something. Get you mind sharing your experiences. Okay, I think there were some more direct questions. I can't remember. If you've got any, just message me again. That's fine. Any tips that I would give you too? Stick to the 25-minute class. I'm finding that the biggest challenge at the moment. On Palfish it was okay because you've got the app and everything open and you're ready to go. You just have that quick nip to the toilet, fill your glass up with water, whatever you need to do in those 3-4 minutes. When you're doing it yourself, I'm finding it difficult to stop at 25 minutes, but of course then that knocks on the next class. I don't know. I'm still figuring out as I go as well. So be careful of the time on the clock. Think about other ways that you can give value as well. So if you're on WeChat, use your moments to share stuff. Create... sorry if this is all sounding a bit patronising, but I'm just giving you what's in my head. Set up some parent groups and just think a bit creatively about how you could add some value. People have asked about pricing, what pricing to charge. It's that question, isn't it? You kind of need to figure that out for yourself. Work out what you were being paid. Work out what the parents were paying. Find somewhere in the middle. Well, not in the middle, but somewhere that's, you know, comfortable, that you're comfortable asking and think is fair and reasonable. But it involves so much more of your time being independent, right? So you need to factor that in as well, and any fees that you might have if you go for Tutorbird, if you pay for Zoom, blah, 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 blah. So this is, and then the value that was mentioning before. If you can add some value, it doesn't really cost you anything except time, but maybe then parents are willing to stump up more. And don't forget, they don't need to buy 100, 200, 300 classes unless you want them to. So it's a bit easier. The payment options for them are a bit easier. What else? Think about what you used to use Palfish for. There was actually a lot of stuff on there that was actually really quite useful. Lives, free talk, the books. Think about how you could set that up on your own and factor it in. I think that's about it, pretty much. I feel like I've rushed through it, but I think that was it. But what I would say is exactly what Gillian said, keep saying in her videos. You have absolutely everything you need in here to just run now on your own. You don't need a platform to set yourself up and to be taking a massive chunk of what you could be earning yourself. And the freedom that it brings is amazing, right? There's no stress of, oh God, if I'm a minute late, 2 minutes late, so what? You've got a direct and brilliant, not so what, because it isn't great, but you know what I mean, I'm not fined. You've got a direct and more personal relationship now with your parents. They're much more forgiving. You can offer stuff if you're late. Oh, really sorry. You can offer whatever you need to offer. Well, you don't need to wear blue, not that I ever did. Backgrounds, doesn't matter where you teach. In fact, I had a lesson last week from a castle near where I live and the parents love it. The freedom that it brings is just brilliant. And yes, there is more work to get it up and running, but once you've established that and you've got a routine, you're good to go. All right, and these are young kids that if you do it well, hopefully they'll hang around for a few years. And of course, they'll refer you on. And, you know, within 2 weeks, my schedule is full up and I'm at the point of having a waiting list now. So you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Anyone can do it. And it's much more enjoyable, much more rewarding. You'll be earning much, much more than what you earn on any platform, especially now. So if you're still here, thank you for listening. And I'm sorry if it's super fast and it's the end of a busy day. But do drop me a line if you've got any more questions. And yeah, I'll stick the link on at the end. All right. Thanks very much and talk to you soon.